I'll give you a brief overview, roughly, of my three main teachings. They are in the order that I sort of prioritize them for myself, so the order in which I discovered it. The first teaching is that of awareness or presence awareness. I call this enlightenment. This was the main drive for myself, to find whatever that is, the ultimate answer. Later found out this is not the ultimate answer, but at the time that was satisfying to my quest for the ultimate answer. So enlightenment for me covers the idea that what we're seeking is always already here, precisely because we can never become anything new. We can never find anything new, not really. Everything already exists, everything is already discovered. So we're simply little personas, discovering, stumbling, and seeking for that which is already the case. We're trying to find our true nature, we're trying to find our essence, we're trying to find something that does not change, we're trying to find something reliable. So enlightenment for me is that moment, quote unquote, which is not necessarily just one moment. There's that realization that what you are is right now, right here. It's listening to my voice, it's noticing your sense perceptions. It is that intangible quality of cognizance, that intangible quality of awareness itself. Can you all feel that right now? Can you all notice that you are aware? So it's kind of funny that we seek for this, right? Because it's so simple. It's kind of funny that we make such a big deal out of it because it's so easy, because it's so plain, ordinary, already here. So we hear a lot of stories about awakening. We grab these spiritual books, and on the back side, it will say an exact date and an exact time when that teacher woke up, which you'll never see me do. If I do, please kill me. At the age of, this person realized, and then ever since, they were awake. Very cool. So we have all these descriptions. We have all these descriptions and images of enlightenment, but really it's so simple. It's very, very easy. It's already here. And for me, the shift happened at 8 p.m. when I realized that which I could recognize when I started meditating and quieting the mind, but I got a better and better sense of this awareness that never leaves. But at some point I realized that which I'm looking for, that awareness which is here, is always already here, and not only when I'm not thinking, not only when I'm meditating, not only when I'm thinking in a certain way, it's always here. So whatever you're thinking right now, whatever I'm thinking right now, whatever I'm feeling right now, whatever you're sensing right now, whatever happened yesterday, whatever will happen tomorrow, whatever is happening now, it doesn't matter. Because at least it doesn't matter from the point of view of enlightenment, because what is seeing is always seeing. What is here is always here. You are inescapable. You are effortless. You are already free. So the moment I recognized that, it continued to be appreciated. It continued to be recognized. It continued to be made more familiar to me. And the more familiar we become with that which is already here, the less we will think that we're not already here. The less we will think we're not already free. So if anything, it's a process of awakening, and then it's a process of discovering the ideas that we have about not being perfect yet, about not being aware yet, about not being awake yet. And so by bringing our attention to the recognition that we had in that initial awakening, which is as simple as noticing for 2 seconds right now that something here, as you, is aware of my words. So now note down this date and the time. It is 7, wait, that's not correct. My watch is messed up. On the 6th. So make a note, mental note, or on your phone, so that if you ever write a book, you can say that, if it didn't happen earlier already, that you woke up to the fact that you're aware already. It was very simple. No fireworks, just something here is noticing that this guy is speaking. Very simple. Now, After that moment of awakening, which you've just all had, welcome, good job, you will continue to discover or eliminate, in a way, transform any ideas that you might have been brought up with about this not being the case yet, about you not being perfect yet. Again, so this awareness, which is hearing me right now, and again, you can all recognize this. Does anyone not know what I'm talking about right now? Cool. Okay. So that which is here right now, and hearing and seeing and listening and sensing, that awareness has certain primordial qualities that are sort of opposite to everything we've been taught about ourselves, such as it's already here, it's already perfect, it's already complete, it contains everything that could ever possibly be, instead of you're not good enough, you need to work hard, it's not already here, you're not complete yet, you need to find completion. Peace is found in certain experiences, satisfaction is found in certain experiences and not in others. As soon as you bring that recognition to that awareness over and over and over again, now that's the process of discovering after initial awakening. The more of your awareness you bring to this recognition, the more these qualities become yours, even though they already are. But your persona starts to reflect that awareness, starts to reflect that satisfaction, starts to reflect that peace, starts to reflect that confidence that you're already free, starts to reflect the conviction that you're already awake, that you're already complete, that everything is inside of you, etc. Now, there's different degrees of this realization. And the only way to increase the depth of this realization is to repeat the recognition as clearly as you can for 2 to 5 seconds at a time, several times a day. Does that make sense? It's very simple. I don't think I can bring it any simpler. You wake up to awareness and you repeat that recognition as clearly as you can for 2 to 5 seconds, several times a day. And you start to realize that there's something more than awareness. There's something beyond consciousness. There's something beyond presence. Now that something cannot be described, so it gets a little tough to talk about it. But I do a pretty good job, so I'm going to try. Now when you notice that you are, right now, when you notice that there is a sense of presence awareness, can you also notice that that itself is present? Try to follow me here. It's a little subtle. We're talking about the absolute after all. Presence awareness is itself present. In a sense, you could say, I am aware of presence awareness. Does that make sense? You can notice the sense of I am, no? You can notice even awareness, subjective as it is, pure subjectivity of awareness itself, seeing itself, awakeness itself, clarity itself, cognizance itself, the intangible itself. But you're still recognizing the intangible. You're able to notice that awareness is awareness. In other words, awareness is, in the very subtlest sense of the meaning, an object. The subject itself is actually an object. That's why you, as the infinite, can grow tired of identifying yourself with the object that is awareness, the manifestation that is awareness. Now, often we don't really talk about this, or you don't hear spiritual teachers talk very much about, at least I haven't found. Many talk about awareness as an object. It's awareness as the subject, as the absolute. But what I've found is that awareness is not the absolute. Awareness is the first manifestation of the absolute. The absolute is absolute. The absolute is indescribable. The infinite is infinite. It cannot be defined by a quality limited and small as awareness. Awareness has a limitation. It has to be aware. Infinity is not limited to having to be aware. Ta-da! That's why, for those that are ready and ripe and all that nonsense, like when the apple is ripe, it will fall from the tree. Don't believe in that. But when you are, you will find that awareness, in a sense, drops away. It's like it itself becomes tiring because you're identified with it. It's not that awareness is bothersome in and of itself. It's just the association of yourself with awareness is what becomes tiresome. Your association with yourself as the I or the I am becomes tiresome. It's that link, that identification with, that becomes tiresome because it's not absolutely true. Now initially it's the biggest satisfaction you can find because it's so much truer, so much freer, so much more indescribable than any object you've previously identified with. But so at some point, when awareness has been sufficiently recognized and realized and grown familiar with, befriended, then you can notice how anything that you place a lot of attention on now becomes the object. Similarly, when you realize yourself as awareness and things sort of become ephemeral and empty and dreamlike and transparent, and you don't have as many clutches anymore, as many, what's the word? I guess attachments you could call it. You don't have as many associations. You don't refer to things as objects as much anymore because you see that they're all appearances of the subject. So really the objects that you perceive are projections of the subject itself. But now that that is seen, now that you see through the illusion of objectivity and objects, what you then see is awareness or presence or the now. But since now all your attention is naturally absorbed in awareness or the now, I'm not saying that you have to recognize awareness all the time, but when you get to the stage where it's sort of naturally here, and you're sort of naturally noticing that you're aware, and no one can really take that away from you anymore, and no experience can really take that away from you anymore, you might get triggered, you might have challenging experiences, but you're always noticing that there is something aware of all that. There's something that is free from that. Even if you're suffering, there's something that's aware of it, something that's witnessing it. When that becomes more and more natural for you, then you can understand how now your attention, or awareness itself, is sort of self-absorbed. So now, what is the object of awareness's attention? Itself. So now, awareness is the object. And as soon as there is an object, there is, well, this is not necessarily true, but I was going to say, as soon as there is an object, then you identify with that object. So now that you are identifying with awareness itself, that can therefore grow tiresome because it's not the ultimate truth. It's still a focus that you have to, in a sense, maintain, even though it's self-maintaining. But it's still something that is in your consciousness. It's still something that is pulling your consciousness into an object-focused state, even though the object knows the subject. Okay, very technical. Does it make sense so far? So then, what is beyond consciousness? What are you truly? Well, you are all of it because it all comes from your desire to create, your desire to manifest, your desire to know yourself, your desire to be the one knowing itself. And so it's all good. It's all you. But for the sake of reversed exploration, what are you ultimately speaking? Ultimately speaking, you are infinite, indescribable, nothing beyond, free, not this, nor that, nor the experiencer of this or that, neither perception nor non-perception, ingraspable. Again, not this nor that, nor the experiencer of this or that.